Hey friends, are you ready? Welcome back to our episode 2 of our weekly videos. Enjoy!
Hi! How are you? How's your day going? Are you like me? That asks like a lot of questions but can't seem to find the answer to? Don't worry, have faith. Because we're from the Surrey, Filipino Seventh-day Adventist Church Children's Ministries. We're together with loving Christians. We learn to love Christ and love like Christ. And we have answers.
Does God intervene when you're on the verge of death?
Hey, I'm Kendal. I'm giving biblical answers to your interesting questions. So, the question was, does God intervene when you're on the verge of death? Sometimes. It's not all the time. So, here's the deal. Death is part of life. We are going to die, and we can trail that all the way back to Genesis. For dust you are, and to dust you shall return. However, God can intervene when you're on the verge of death. Some perfect examples in the Bible are Hezekiah, where Hezekiah was meant to die, but he prayed, and God gave him a couple extra years. Now, that leads into a whole lot of other issues, but God can intervene on your deathbed, absolutely. When and how he chooses to intervene is basically up to him, right? Sometimes it's to bring glory to him, like Jairus' daughter in the New Testament. Jesus says she's only sleeping, he heals her, and she doesn't, and she's resurrected, right? Same thing with Lazarus, right? Or many of the people Christ healed. So does God intervene on your deathbed? Sometimes. I hope that's a good enough answer.
Did Cain know it was wrong to murder Abel?
So, the question is, did Cain know it was wrong to kill Abel? Okay, so, we gotta start with the fact that, before the whole actual murder took place, God has a conversation with Cain and Abel, but more specifically Cain. That's what's recorded there. And it says, basically, that God says sin is crouching at the door. He can tell that something is growing in Cain's heart. And Cain shouldn't give into it. So Cain knew that something was coming up, right? Whether it was going to be murder or not. The next thing you need to know is in Psalms 119, I want to say verse 11, it says, "Thy word have I hid in thy heart, that I shall not sin against thee." We take this to mean that God's law isn't just written down. Part of it is in your heart. As a human being, you know right from wrong. Ever since Adam and Eve ate the fruit, we've always known some form of right and wrong. Now, did Cain know specifically what was going down? If he had it in his heart, the Bible also says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Our actions start off in our hearts. And if we continue to dwell on evil and angry and hateful thoughts, it's very likely something horrible will happen. This goes so far into the New Testament when Jesus talks about the fact that if you have hatred in your heart, you have committed murder. So, did Cain know it was wrong? Yes, he did.
What will happen to us when we die?
So the next question is, what happens when we die? Now, there's lots of thoughts that go around on that concept. Where do we go? What happens to our spirits and our souls? All that type of jazz. Oh, for the record, I'm here in Tokyo, Japan. So that's the reason why I keep looking around. Don't want to bother too many people. So, here we go. When we die, kind of the end. And I mean, don't mean anything too crazy. I mean, that's it. It's lights out. You're put in the grave. Your body decomposes. All that type of stuff. But we also believe in this. The Bible says to be away from the body is to be present with God. We believe that when someone dies, their body goes into the ground and their spirit goes to God. Does that mean you're going to be flying around in heaven and having fun? No. That is for much later. When we talk about what happens when you die, normally it's in contrast to people who think that you die and go to heaven. No, that's not what's happening. What happens instead is your body basically breaks down and what we call, I guess I could say, if you stop being a soul. Okay? And let me explain what I mean when I say stop being a soul. It is life and the body that makes the living soul. In Genesis, we hear that God breathed life, that the Spirit of God as a breath goes into Adam, and then into this body, and that's what becomes a living soul. It is body plus breath equals soul. So if you don't got your body, you're not really a soul anymore. So the Bible also says, for the living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing. So it's not like you'll be conscious. You won't be remembering anything until Jesus returns. And that's what we're looking forward to. And the return of Christ is a big deal, because that's the fulfillment of all of this. That is the end of death. So, yeah, nothing. So when we die, it's not like you'll feel anything or anything like that. But you do know, and we do have hope, that Jesus will make it all right someday.
See you next week. Bye.